Don't ask him about preseason games, oh no. Stuffing things in Griffin Basso. Despite it being on the internet, he can call it what he wants, so Glenn Clark Radio. Glenn Clark Radio. Glenn Clark Radio. Duke sucks.
Jackson with a fly ball to deep left field. It's going. It's gone. It's grand. Jeremiah Jackson with a grand slam to left. And the Orioles, from down 6 coming into the inning, have made this a 7-6 game.
Action Jackson is what that is. You talk about been heating up lately, and he just buried this ball. It was some type of ball-speed pitch, and I thought at KB he got it a little bit off the end of the bat, but clearly he didn't.
Alonso, high and deep to left field. Pete Alonso, goodbye.
The polar bear in the house.
Yeah, pretty
Folks, that's
memorable
what you call
night
a
at the
polar
ballpark last
vortex
night.
right there.
Orioles fall behind 7-1 and then proceed to go on an 8-0 run. Thanks to Jeremiah Jackson's grand slam, getting them off the mat, and then obviously Pete Alonso putting them in front. Jeremiah Jackson would hit another home run. He's on the board again. First two-timer, as everyone predicted, of the season on the man of the match board. And the Orioles get not your average victory last night to open up the series over the Diamondbacks. And I think that's the story, is that it's one thing that they won the game. It's another thing, obviously, the way that they won the game. And the, a lot of this last night, the 2025 Orioles wouldn't have won this game. I'll be the one to say it. The 2026 Orioles aren't going to win a lot of games like this.
Well, hopefully they're not down, I guess, 6-0 or whatever.
There's going to be very few teams that win games where they're trailing by 6 midway through the game. This is not the standard by which to measure the 2026 Orioles. Now, what you're trying to say, or maybe what you're hoping is true, is that there's a fight in this year's team that is perhaps different than what we saw a year ago. One game does not a story make. I think that was more of what we associated in the love that we found with the 2023 and, frankly, even the 2022 Orioles before they decided to blow it up, was this. I'm not sure how great they are on paper, but boy, are they fighters. I'm not sure how great this team is on paper. Certainly the presence of Pete Alonso made them better on paper. Right now, they have one starting pitcher. It's kind of the awkward thing. We all wanted to believe they were really deep in their rotation. And
Dean went 5 innings last night, didn't he?
Yeah, Dean stunk. Stunk to high heaven.
Well, at least he kept the ball on the ball.
Yeah. Stunk to high heavens last night. Now, again, that's what Dean Kramer does in April. He stinks to high heavens. They have won. Hopefully, Kyle Bradish will be the guy that we think he's going to be. Hopefully, they'll have some other pitchers as the season goes on. Hopefully. Do I know that? I don't know that. I can't say that with confidence. So making grand statements about one game is something that I am wary to do. I don't think that this is a statement that the Orioles are suddenly the most, the team with the most gumption, the team that has the best spunk. I can't give you any of that. I can give you that it was a magical night at the ballpark, and it might be that this is the night that you think back on if this team ends up being really good and saying, hey, man, it all kind of started with that crazy win against the Diamondbacks.
And it wouldn't have happened if Albernaz didn't eat a baseball.
Who knows? Look, we can joke about it, but, like, I do think the guys really respond to the fact that, like, he came back into the dugout and face all bruised up, and I think they love that. And then you see Pete Alonso barking as he's rounding the bases and yelling and trying to get the guys fired up. All the vibes, the aura, it was all immaculate. What does it actually mean? I have no earthly idea. It's somewhere between this was definitive proof the 2026 Orioles are not the same as the 2025 Orioles, and it was one baseball game, and even the 2025 Orioles had some comeback wins. Because every team has some comeback wins during the course of a season, just not many from down 6. I don't know yet. What I know is it was an awesome baseball game. It was incredible. If you root for the Orioles, if you root for the Diamondbacks, it was miserable. It was god-awful.
Well, it was good for about 5 innings.
Yeah, I mean, you were feeling
it was
very
good while Dean
good
Kramer
about
was pitching.
it. Yeah, right.
Like, and I guess Big Al.
Yeah, Albert Suarez as well gave up, obviously, the home run. It was a wonderful night. It was incredible. I don't know that there's anything broader than that to say. And that's tough because I don't want it to seem like I'm raining on the parade. Freaking enjoy it, man. We were at the bar playing bar trivia last night, and we were all hooting and hollering and whooping it up. And it was awesome. What a cool feeling that was. I want everybody to enjoy baseball. But we immediately go to the most hyperbolic things that we can possibly say. I have no idea what this says about the Orioles. None. And no one does.
So I can't be excited?
Stop it. Stop it. We live in... everything is natural outcomes, right? Baseball's natural outcomes, and so we want to have natural outcomes. Everything is goat or trash. The truth is...
Can't smile while watching the game.
It was one of 162 baseball games. It was a hell of a fun one, and one we might remember as the season goes on. Or we might totally forget about it, like we do the overwhelming majority of the 162 baseball games. It is very rare that we remember any individual regular season game. It doesn't mean we never remember a regular season game. We, of course, all remember many of the Cedric Mullins regular season games, right? Because of Cedric Mullins. Maybe Jeremiah Jackson is going to go on to have a magical season, and we'll look back and say, my God, this was the moment that Jeremiah Jackson became the guy he was supposed to be with the Angels, and he ended up being a superstar. And there is a conversation to be had about Jeremiah Jackson. We've been sort of having it for the last few days about what happens when Jackson Holiday returns, which now apparently is not going to be this week either. And I got lots of questions about what's going on with Jackson Holiday. It's starting to feel a little Orioles-like, right? Like, I thought things were going well. Like, what happened here? And I'm not trying to induce panic about it. Like, hopefully Jackson Holiday's fine. And
you want to do what's going on with Jackson Holiday?
Brian Windhorse. It's weird. It's weird.
Like, they're gonna have to do something because he has to be.
Well, they can just
based
extend.
On when they put him on the IL, they'd have to put him like the 60.
I want to make sure I have
okay.
this. When did they put?
Well, because I know like his rehab assignment was running out. Essentially, is like what like this week. That's why everyone was circling this week.
Well, they could just put him today. If they know he's not coming back this week, they could put him on today on another 10-day IL stint. If they know that he's not playing, now, obviously, if they want him to keep playing through this. I got to think about what the rules are. That how long can a rehab assignment go? I want to make sure I know
so
all
he's
this
on.
right.
He's on. Yeah.
They're capped at 20 days for position players.
Right.
So when did he start?
I felt like he started like he was he was leading off Norfolk's opening day, wasn't he?
Was he?
I thought
Yeah,
so.
I mean, you might be right. I don't know.
So that was like the 20
March 27th.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to definitely hit 20 days, so they're going to have to do something. And if he's not coming back this week, they're definitely going to have to do something. Presumably a new IL stint. And that's, I mean, or I guess, as we pointed out, technically they could option him. He has options.
Yeah. They used one.
Obviously his first season, but they're not running out of options on Jackson Holiday.
I know, but yeah, I mean, I guess they're not worried about that. Yeah.
What? What, needing more in the coming years?
Yeah.
No, it's not something that you're certainly not. I mean, I'm not trying to be.
He's got 2 left.
Yeah, they can absolutely option if they wanted to, but I don't think that's what they want to do. I just don't know exactly what's going on. And apparently, he was at the ballpark last night.
Yeah.
So it's weird. It's all very weird. Like I don't know, man. I don't know. But hopefully it's nothing terribly significant. The point of all of this is that when Jackson Holiday returns, it's starting to be more of a conversation. I'll bring this up when Steve Johnson joins us in a little bit. He and I were texting last night. It's starting to feel like Jeremiah Jackson should be the third baseman, and Kobe Mayo, with respect, should probably get the at-bats that Ryan Mountcastle would have gotten. Now, there's another layer to it. There is an opinion held by some that Jackson Holiday ultimately should be a center fielder. And the Orioles, kind of don't have one of those, although, Leody Taveras is doing his damnedest. Now, I think it would be reckless. I think it would be outrageous to suddenly decide that Jackson Holiday is a center fielder when he's just trying to get on the field. I think that would be crazy. But is it impossible that they consider running him out there a little bit? I don't know. I don't know how down they are. I know how down I am on Colton Cowser. I don't know how down they are on Colton Cowser. I don't know how confident they are that Leody Taveras just might be someone that needs to be playing more frequently because, again, he offers a profile that's a little bit different. To me, I think the answer when Holiday returns at the moment is that Jeremiah Jackson needs to get a little bit more third base. I still think Blaze Alexander can be in that conversation because of his profile. And that Kobe Mayo, as much as I wanted him in the lineup every day, I mean, if we even get another week, unless Kobe Mayo suddenly really starts hitting, Kobe Mayo resorts to the Ryan Mountcastle role, which you're going to need filled because Ryan Mountcastle is going to be out for a while. Now, I get it. Presumably somebody has to be sent down, and that's a deeper conversation if nobody gets hurt between now and then. Although, no, they've got the spot because they have the Rodriguez spot that they can use to send somebody down, so he can just get sent back down.
I don't know. J-Rod's making a case.
Right, great. Is he? Is he, though?
I mean, they're 1-0. 2-0, sorry. Yeah.
Technically 2-0, right? So, no, they don't need to worry about who they're going to send down, I guess. But to me, there is absolutely a conversation to be had about Jeremiah Jackson and deserving more playing time. But it's very dangerous because, again, we were just having this conversation a week ago about Blaze Alexander and how in love with Blaze Alexander we were. And yet, a couple days later, we're not as enamored with Blaze Alexander, and suddenly we're back in love with Jeremiah Jackson. So I want to be careful with all of this. I think the profile is important. And I think the profile and the need for one fewer natural outcome bat, a spot in the lineup, ironically from a guy that hit 2 home runs last night, but a spot in the lineup for someone that isn't all natural outcomes and lots of strikeouts, to me, is valuable right now. You have too many strikeouts in the lineup at the moment. I don't think Gunnar is going to continue to be a, primary natural outcomes hitter as the season goes on, but
Be good for my MVP bet.
I mean, he can't hit like this. Can be in the MVP conversation.
I mean, if he leads the league in home runs, it's gonna.
He can't hit like this. It's gotta.
I mean, I don't know. Can he?
No.
Leading the league in RBI and home runs.
That's all well and good. Like, he can't hit. What was it, 230, something like that? Like, he can't.
Is that what he's hitting overall in the season?
I don't know. I think it went up a little bit from
Yeah.
there, but it's not. It's not great. He can hit 260 and be that guy.
He's batting 239 right now.
Yeah,
Come on.
you can't hit 239 and do that.
But he's getting a hit every game. At least one.
A lot of them are home runs.
Yeah, mostly.
I think the profile
He had a
is
triple last
important.
night.
And I'm using Jeremiah Jackson's name to speak for the profile right now because that's who we're talking about at the moment. But I'm still not certain that it's Jeremiah Jackson specifically, and maybe not just a combination of Jeremiah Jackson. I just think the Orioles need a little bit more of other profiles in the lineup, particularly if Tyler O'Neill's going to keep playing, because that's what you're getting from him. That's who he is. It's not all home runs and strikeouts, but Basayo's all home runs and strikeouts. Alonso's largely going to be home runs and strikeouts. I get right now he's giving you a little bit more than that. And our panic about Pete Alonso, maybe we can just calm down a little bit.
Strawberry knew what he was talking about, I guess.
A lot of people did. It was a lot of people that were like, settle down about Pete Alonso. But yeah, I think the profile is important. And if it's Jeremiah Jackson, if it's Jeremiah Jackson and Blaze Alexander, if Jeremiah Jackson cools off and then it's just Blaze Alexander, I just think that one more spot in the lineup going to someone that isn't a natural outcomes hitter is valuable for this team right now based on how they're constructed. I'm pretty sure our guest this morning agrees with me because we were talking about it just last night. Former Orioles pitcher, Mr. Steve Johnson, he is back with us this morning. What's going on, buddy? How are you?
What's going on? How's it going?
That was a fun night last night.
It was. It was fun to watch.
Tell me
I don't
about.
get to see many of them, but
Well, okay, tell me about that, because there's this danger that we have that we're immediately hyperbolic about everything, and everybody last night said, this proves that the 2026 Orioles aren't the 2025 Orioles, and as I said earlier in the show, I don't think the 2026 Orioles are going to come back from 6 runs down very often this season. I just don't think we're going to see that. But what is the value of that kind of win and the aura, which is a word that I used to hate, but I have begrudgingly just come around on because we're all going to use it anyway. The aura of Craig Albertaz, with his face all busted up, coming back into the dugout, and Pete Alonso screaming at the boys as he hits the go-ahead home run. Like, what is the value for a baseball team of one night out of 162?
I mean, I think the game kind of runs on momentum, and things were going kind of not great. I mean, they're going okay. Everyone's kind of piecing things together. But when the team kind of comes together, kind of as one, where maybe the starters didn't quite do what they wanted to do, the relievers didn't quite hold it down in the middle of the game, but then you get a big boost from the bottom of the lineup, honestly, and then you get your star guy to go out there and hit a go ahead homer. I mean, you hope that kind of builds momentum into the rest of the season, and gets these other guys going. I mean, like I said, they're kind of just piecing it together right now, and when you have a win that you shouldn't really have had, it just kind of gets guys kind of going, and you hope to ride it into the next series.
What you kind of referenced there, because it's difficult for me. I am excited. I was fired up as I was as fired up as everybody else was. It was awesome. That was theater, man. Like, this is why you're into sports, is because every now and then you're gonna watch what's just a baseball game, and it's gonna turn out to be a magical night, right? Like, that's the point of all of this. But then I measure that against. Right, but I'm reminded that the Orioles right now have one starting pitcher. And it's a tough juxtaposition I have of, I want to be fired up, I want to be super excited, but on the flip side, okay, but how good are they? And I still kind of don't know the answer to that question. Like, I think this is proof that the lineup was always going to be a little bit better than, maybe the start that they got off to. We knew that there was a lot in there. I think that's a very positive sign. I am concerned about the way the rotation has shaped up to start the season. I get it, a very small sample size, everyone only 3 times through, but it is not great that this, what was supposed to be the deepest rotation in modern Orioles history, has one guy that you feel good about 3 weeks into the season.
Yeah, and that's true. But I think that's the same way with the lineup at the moment. And you're like, okay, well, the lineup should be better through the whole season. They're not, coming together as one right now. And I think that guys will pitch better. They haven't pitched terrible, but not where you want them. But I mean, you could also say that about like 28 other teams in the big leagues right now. You look at the standings and everyone's pretty much in the same boat.
Everyone's very mediocre, right?
There's a lot of people that have spent a lot of money on guys that aren't really performing their first couple starts right now. So I think at the end of the day, to be where they are in terms of tied for first place, when nothing's really going all good together, that's kind of where you want to be or hope to be right now. And then you hope to kind of get some guys pitching a little bit better, get the guys hitting the way they should hit, and kind of hitting as like, hitting together, getting good hits at the right time, and your star guys getting hits at the right time. And you hope to just win a couple series in a row. That's momentum's just huge.
All right, let's talk about a couple of these guys individually, right? Bradish is the one. Of the pitchers, if there's a guy that you say, somebody's going to definitely be better than what they've been, it's Bradish, right? Like, that's the obvious. What do you make? Because this really is kind of stunning to me for someone that's this good to it's not just the struggles, it's that, like, what happened in Chicago looked like someone who the start was getting to him. Like, that, what we saw there, that doesn't happen to major leaguers, where you just forget that you have to catch a baseball that's being thrown back to you. That felt to me like someone who is really wearing how difficult the start of the season has been for him based on what his expectations were. What do you make of what's going on with Kyle Bradish?
I mean, I looked at that and I didn't see it live, but I saw obviously all the clips, and that's just frustration. And he's caught the ball. He's probably done that move where he's frustrated and you catch the ball, you go to swipe at the ball and you catch it 99% of the time, and then of course the one time he doesn't catch it, there's the guy scores. I mean, that's obviously it shouldn't happen. He knows that, but yeah, I think for him, it's probably just he's not sharp right now. Still kind of getting back into the groove from returning from that injury, and you can just see from his walks, probably just walking a couple more guys than he normally would. Strikeouts are still there, stuff's still there. It's just he's just not as sharp as he he can be. And I think that's kind of where you look at that and you're like, okay, the stuff's still there. He's striking guys out. He's not having the starts he wants to have, but when you look at it, you're like, he's going to be there. He's going to find it at some point. It's just how long is it going to take him to feel back to himself?
What about Bassett? Because I feel like that's the one that there's a little bit more concern based on how the last 2 years went for him, and obviously Orioles fans having visions of Charlie Morton kind of running through their heads from last year. I think there's a little bit more concern around baseball that maybe this is sort of the beginning of the end for Chris Bassett. And I'm not trying to write that off. 3 starts is not enough of a sample size to proclaim that. I acknowledge that, Steve. But I don't know what the number is when it is enough starts to say, hey, we might know that maybe Chris Bassett just isn't that guy anymore at this point in his career.
Yeah, and there's no crystal ball to tell you exactly when that's going to be. I mean, I think people could have took the first 7 or 8 starts of Morton last year and been like, get him off the team, right? And everyone wanted to, and then all of a sudden, that veteran presence where he's like, okay, I'm going to do my business, I'm going to go do my job, and all of a sudden you're able to trade him at the deadline for somebody that's currently or is still on your team. So it's I think for him, if it was a young guy doing what he's doing, it'd be completely different. I think that would be something to worry about. But for him, it's like if there's no one, banging down the door to take his spot, he's going to give you that he's going to go out there. He's not going to give up. He knows how to get outs. It's not going to be there every time for him, but he also knows how to find his groove and basically do his job. So, yeah, I don't know when that number is, how many starts you give him, but you at least know he's not going to kind of lay down. But if you have some younger guys out down in AAA, kind of wanting to get up there, well, then you might have to make that decision. But I think that the money they've spent as well has kind of, they're going to give it, they're going to
no
let
doubt.
him go for a little
Right.
bit. But at the same time, if you look at last year, I don't know. There's a veteran presence that they can kind of turn it around. It's part of what they are used to doing.
Steve Johnson with us here on GCR. Steve, you bring that up, guys banging down the door. What we saw from Cade Povich on Sunday was electric. I mean, it was magical almost. He looked really good out of the bullpen the previous Sunday against Pittsburgh, and you can chalk that up to, hey, they weren't expecting to see him, and you can have days like that. We all know Cade Povich has talent. We all know he has the stuff to be a major league pitcher. Is what you saw from Sunday enough for you to say they optioned him after the game? That's roster manipulation. Like, I understand that. I don't get too worked up about that stuff. Somebody could, oh boy, it's a real bummer that you got to go on the IL this week so we can get Cade Povich back up here. Like, that type of stuff happens. But is that one start enough for you to say you need to ride that hot hand and see if this is the moment that Cade Povich is asserting himself as a major league starter and make sure he pitches again this coming weekend when it looks like you need a starter on Saturday?
Yeah, I think the thing for him has been consistency, and from a young guy, that's not always what you're going to get. But I think it's been a little bit now where he's gotten opportunities. He's kind of been able to kind of get that dose of being in the big leagues and pitching against a decent amount of teams. Figuring out how to do it. I think that there's going to come a time when he's going to be the guy that you give more opportunities to and kind of say, hey, here you go. I know, you're fine. You're trying to, as a young guy, kind of earn your spot. And it's difficult to kind of continue, go up, go down, and kind of feeling like every outing that you have, you're looking over your shoulder. Like, am I going to stay? I had a good outing. I did my job, but now all of a sudden I'm going back down. And, that can be tough. I mean, I think back to when we were in the kind of the Norfolk shuttle times of 2012 and 13 and 14. They were kind of doing that to a lot of guys, even guys like Gosman, and it's sometimes it's hard to kind of continuously do that until you've finally kind of get your groove and kind of say, hey, they're giving me the ball. I'm not looking over my shoulder. Obviously, got to do my job and have good starts. But like when I have a bad start, hopefully not. That's not going to be like the thing that gets me down after a couple good ones. So you hope that they eventually kind of just say, hey, here you go. You've kind of earned this opportunity.
Man, if he's the guy that he was on Sunday, he's more than earned it. But, it's just, again, we talk about small sample sizes. That's a small sample size. Steve, you and I were chatting about this last night. Jeremiah Jackson, obviously, that was magical last night. I don't know what Jeremiah Jackson is, but I do know that this lineup right now has a little bit too much natural outcome in it. And I do think part of that is on purpose. Like, that's what a lot of people believe baseball is in 2026, is you need to just go hit home runs, and you're going to strike out a lot in the process, take a lot of walks. That's the way that it goes. It smells to me, and it's ironic that we're talking about Jackson after he hit 2 home runs last night, but it smells to me like this lineup could use a couple of other profiles in it. And presumably when Jackson Holiday returns, which apparently is not going to be this week, he's a guy that's not going to be a natural outcome guy, right? So you're going to get a little bit more of that just from his return. But as much as I was enamored with the idea of Kobe Mayo being in the lineup and trying to figure out what he is, I'm starting to come around to the idea that when Jackson Holiday returns, you've got to try to keep Jeremiah Jackson, even Blaze Alexander, in the lineup as much as you possibly can to cut down on how many all home run strikeout you have in this lineup.
Yeah, I think that Jackson's kind of continuing to where he left off last year too. I mean, he kind of came up and was a consistent hitter last year, and I think he's one of the only guys hitting consistently in terms for average, in the lineup right now. So it's like you have a lot of the same guy in the lineup. Obviously, they kind of fill that top part of the lineup with guys that strike out a lot, but also guys don't really want to face in big positions either because they can do damage at any time. But to be able to kind of maybe fill in that spot with Jackson, and then when Holiday comes back, you're able to kind of have some different guys down there, but you got to find a way to keep him in the lineup, especially if he's doing what he's doing right now. You don't really know what you have in him fully, but at the same time, it's like, well, you can only see what he's shown you. And at the moment, he's the guy that I think a lot of teams would love to have in their lineup at the moment. So, you ride that. And with Mayo, if someone's kind of out hitting you and forces their hand a little bit when Holiday comes back, and I don't know what you're able to do there. So obviously it's kind of, well, who's earning it right now?
Let me ask you this kind of crazy question that there are a few folks that have talked about for a couple of years now. I don't think you can do this right now when he returns, but there are a lot of people that have the opinion that Jackson Holiday ultimately should be a center fielder. That opinion exists. I don't think it's interesting because the Orioles don't appear to have a surefire center fielder at the moment. Although, give Leody Taveras credit, he is certainly making the most out of his opportunity. And if he keeps performing like this, then he's going to be your center fielder, right? Do you look at Jackson Holiday and see center fielder? If you do, is that something you can do on the fly, or is that something that you have to decide the offseason before, hey, we want you to try to do this next year? What is the legitimacy of that conversation about Jackson Holiday center fielder?
I think, he probably could do it. He's athletic enough, but there's a lot that goes into learning the outfield. And again, you can throw him out there and he'd probably be fine. But I feel like at this level, there's a lot more that goes into it, and seeing the ball off the bat, and just awareness. It's definitely a different spot, but you have a guy like Bradfield that's possibly going to come up and be that guy.
As long as he hits, and that's sort of the problem. It's so funny, Steve, because if Colton Cowser was hitting, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Colton Cowser is a plenty competent center fielder. He's not maybe a plus center fielder the way that he can't cover the ground that Cedric could cover, but my God, who could, right? But he's competent enough. He's just not hitting, which is the problem, and that's the Bradfield. Bradfield defensively could probably play center field in the major leagues as well as anyone right now. But you need him to be able to hit, and you're in this tricky spot where, are you counting on it still? Do you know he's going to be an everyday major league center fielder, or do you have to figure out if somebody else can be your future major league center fielder, because Enrique Bradfield just never really has shown that he's definitely going to be able to hit well enough to be an everyday major leaguer.
Yeah, that's obviously the tough thing, and some guys figure it out later than others. But at the same time, sometimes you need that defensive guy, and maybe he slowly kind of works his way into being that kind of defensive late replacement on the team, where he can go and pinch run for you. You can go and play that center field to finish the game, get a couple at bats here and there. But a lot of times, speed's something you can't teach. And he has a ton of it, and sometimes on the base, you don't have many guys like that at the moment. So it's like when you have a pitcher that's worried about a guy on first base or on the bases, and then they're pitching to guys like Alonso and Gunnar, it's like that creates something that you want for the guys up at the plate. So there's just sometimes where he might earn that spot, and hopefully he's able to figure it out at some point at the plate, at least enough to just be serviceable at the plate, and then do what he can do in the field and on the bases. So I don't know, that Holiday in the outfield, if it comes to it, sure, but I think they really want to they got to figure out everyone else first. I think that might be a last resort.
I understand that. Also, I have no idea what his appetite would be for doing it, right? I think ultimately his family wants him to be a shortstop. It's just that, the position's not available.
Right.
Not going to be an option here. Steve, I'm going to present this from Chris because I do think it's a fair point. But I have a thought, and I want to get your thought on it. Chris says, you guys are talking about Jeremiah Jackson like his profile is such a revelation. He's got a 326 on base percentage. It's only 8 points higher. He has 0 walks and 11 strikeouts. I understand exactly what Chris is saying. My opinion is that base hits are still more valuable than walks because when you get a base hit, a runner can go from first to third or from second to home. It's just sort of the nature of the way that this goes. I do think that, like, Jeremiah Jackson has to take a walk or two. I think that 0 is not going to be the number that he's going to have for the entirety of a season. But your thoughts on whether or not are we making too much of Jeremiah Jackson's profile when, you know, he's only getting on base when he's getting hits right now?
Yeah, that's a big part of it too. I mean, I can understand that, but at the same time, it's like he's getting hits. When he's in the lineup, he's getting hits, and sometimes, you know, would I rather a guy go up there and walk, or would I rather go up there and have a guy that can, you know, put the ball in play and get on base? And it's like, well, I'd rather have the guy that gets on base by hitting the ball. But obviously, you know, they're giving him. They're the ones that, you know, he's in the bottom of the lineup. He's the guy as pitchers, they attack more. They're going to go after him more than, you know, letting a guy like Gunnar get to the plate in 2 batters. You know, so it's like that's kind of how that works a lot of the time. And so if obviously in my way, it's like I don't care how you get on base, just whether you're hitting the ball, and I'd rather have that. I'd rather have my lower half of the lineup get up there swinging, and especially when they go out there and you know, hit homers as well. It's just like my thought process is, yeah, he's doing it though. Like and early in the season though, he can go through a little slump and all of a sudden he's batting 200 again. So it's like, yes, that could happen. But from last year to this year, it's like he's one of the most consistent guys from that point on this team. So yeah, I understand that thought process, but at the same time, it's like they're going to get pitches to hit over the top of the lineup right now.
Tell me about are you mad that Rory McIlroy got to go practice at Augusta for weeks? What an embarrassment this is, that this guy, he cheated, right? Like, he was just, how dare he refuse to play in golf tournaments and just go practice at a course. It wasn't fair to the other golfers, I think, is the point, right?
I mean, unless you're a younger guy, I'm pretty sure that almost every golfer could find a pro to go and golf with at Augusta to practice if they had the chance.
This point has been made by many people. They have the option. They can all do it.
It's not, you know, yeah, sure, for the rookies and stuff that maybe aren't able to do it, but I'm pretty sure that they could find a way as well.
To the point, I am to understand that anyone who qualifies for the Masters is allowed to go practice at Augusta leading up to it. That was the way that it was.
Even if you don't qualify for the Masters, if you know somebody, then someone has a hookup, and at that point, you have the opportunity to know a lot of people that knows somebody that knows somebody. I'm sure a pro would love to take a guy out there and do it. And it's not maybe as easy, but I'm pretty sure everyone has that opportunity. The fact that he can do it because without needing somebody else, that just is what he's earned. So, sure.
Yeah, and financially, he doesn't have to play in the Texas Open. Financially, he can say, I don't want to play in the Texas Open. With all due respect, you guys can go do that and make your money. God bless you. I don't want to do it. That's the way it goes, man. Maybe go make some more putts on the weekend. Maybe go, like, imagine thinking that it's some sort of controversy that Rory McIlroy smartly said, I care about the Masters and not the Texas Open, so my focus is going to be on the Masters.
Yeah.
Makes all the sense in the world to me, bro.
Yeah, it's just funny because there's, especially in other sports, there's stadiums, there's atmospheres that people can play in front of all the time. It's like it's like, oh man, they get to play at home, so they're you know, they in Seattle for football. It's like, well, they get to play at home and they're not as loud on offense, and we have to deal with, you know, on offense. Everyone's really loud, and it's the loudest stadium in the NFL. It's like, that's not fair. It's like, well, that's part of it. Sorry about it.
That's the way it works, man. That's the way that it works. Go beat the guy. All right, remind everybody you're making better baseball players. How you doing it?
Optimal Baseball Performance out in Bel Air. Just hopefully allowing some younger players to get better and have a good time out there playing ball.
What else is going on in your world? I know you're just dadding it all the time now. Like, what?
I got the morning shift of most of the time. My wife works kind of in the morning to early afternoon, and then so I got the baby, and then she's luckily napping today
There you
during
go.
the time that I
There you go.
timed that up well.
That
But yeah, and then I had to work, so
man, it doesn't seem so
kind of
bad.
switching off, and it's nice.
That doesn't seem so bad, bro. That seems
It's not
like
terrible.
I think we've talked about that before, right? Like you think about how much your life is going to be dramatically different with kids, and then you're like, no, this is actually pretty cool. Like I'm at a place in my life where I don't need to go out all the time. Like I really don't want to any longer, frankly. This works.
Yeah, I'm having a good time with it. It's she's great. We're having a good time. Went on our first flight, so that went well.
How'd she handle it?
She did good.
Awesome.
She did good.
Awesome,
I mean, probably 10 minutes total on both flights, getting a little bit upset, but then passed right out. So
we took my younger son Sam. We took him on a flight when he was like 3 months old, and as soon as I got like the third Bloody Mary in him, he was fine. Like he was good. He was totally good at that point. OptimalBaseball.com is the website. Find out more there. And what's the new Twitter handle now that I
mean, it's the same Twitter handle.
Oh, okay. You just lost your whole Twitter.
I just lost my whole account. So, and yeah, with all the non-human people, I can't get it back. It'd be so easy to get it back. I just need to talk to somebody for 5 minutes, but
it's never gonna happen, brother. That's never gonna occur. It's just what it is. So still at sjohnson831. Give him a follow there. Love you, buddy. Appreciate you. Let's talk again soon. All right.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
See you, pal. Steve Johnson with us here on GCR. We'll come back in. Gabe Lacques from USA Today covers the Orioles. We're going to get his thoughts on some of the same topics we're discussing and some potentially very big news related to the Preakness that I want to discuss this morning as well. Today's show brought to you by County Sports Zone. CountySports.zone is the website for everything you need to know about high school sports here in the state of Maryland. Scores, schedules, rankings, every sport, every school, every level, every corner of the state. CountySports.zone. Proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. It's Glenn Clark Radio. Your car is more than just a ride. It's an investment. At Leading Edge Auto Body in Mount Washington, we've spent over 20 years perfecting the art of repair. From high-end imports to your trusted daily driver, we handle all makes and models with elite precision. Our team holds the highest honors in the industry, including ASE Master, iCar Platinum, and specialized aluminum certifications. We make it easy with free towing, pickup, and delivery because at Leading Edge, customer satisfaction comes first. And remember, with insurance, it's your car and it's your choice. Choose the experts. Leading Edge Auto Body. Quality you can see. Service you can trust. Go to leadingedgeautobody.com today.
The weather's getting cooler, so when you and your family are picking out a place to dine, be it lunch or dinner, let's make it nice and easy. Now, with 2 great locations, the Costas Inn remains your #1 destination. Whether you want to get steamed crabs and the full Costas menu out at the original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or sample the complete menu minus the steamed crabs at the new location above the grandstand at the Timonium Racetrack. Costas is your place to go. Check out the website, CostasInn.com, for a look at the menu, and if you want to plan that crab feast, call 410-477-1975. The Costas Inn.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
This is Byron Warnken. If you've been injured in Maryland, you know you need a great lawyer. Look no further than us, Warnken LLC. You've seen my picture on billboards around town. You've seen me on TV. Now I'm lucky enough to get to be here with Stan. Please give us a call. 443-RESULTS. It is not just a phone number, it's a mission. 443-RESULTS. Or visit us online at warnkenlaw.com. That's WARNKENLAW.com.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
Back in here on GCRs, continue along on a Tuesday edition of the program. We're going to get to both the Rock. John's already bringing it all up. We're going to get both the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame class, and we're going to talk about the Preakness.
Stop reading ahead, John.
Yeah, right. Like it's on my sheet. I have a sheet here of things that I'm going to get to. But the Orioles had a magical win last night, so we're going to keep talking about what it means and some of these topics that are facing the Orioles after a big win. If you missed Stan the Fan Charles, Ross Grimsley, and Luke Jackson talking Orioles baseball. They do it every Monday, and you can find it Facebook.com/PressBoxSports, YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline, or PressBoxOnline.com/video. As always, Stan's show is brought to you by Warnken Law and the Costas Inn with two great locations, the OG in Dundalk, the new one in Timonium. Joining us now, he covers the Orioles and Major League Baseball for USA Today. He is Gabe Lacques, and he's back with us now here on GCR. Gabe, it's Glenn. What's going on, man? How are you?
Oh, not bad at all. Really interesting start to the year, to say the least. Here and everywhere else, things are a little weird, but maybe they'll smooth out pretty soon.
This is the baseball the government wants. Everybody's mid. This is the one. This is what they want. They want everybody to be very mid. Gabe, obviously, I know you wrote about Craig Albernaz taking the foul ball last night, and then like a champ coming back into the game, and I said this, to me, that was a magical evening. That last night was why you're a sports fan. Because sometimes you're going to show up to a game just thinking it's 1 out of 162, and it ends up being something that you had no idea that you could possibly expect. My kids went to the game on September 6th last year because it was the anniversary of Cal Ripken and 21-31, and it was my birthday, and my wife wanted to go, and it was just going to be a ho-hum Saturday night at the ballpark with a bad Orioles team against the Dodgers. And it ended up being a core memory because they were getting no hit with 2 outs in the 9th inning, and they ended up winning the game. It's a core memory that my kids continue to talk about, like how magical it was for them. Somebody went to a baseball game last night and created a core memory. I just don't know, like, how much to... Is this the night that maybe starts to define the 2026 Orioles, or is it one baseball game in a season where there's 162 and no one of them really matters more than another one does?
I guess I would say yes to both questions, but I mean, it is interesting, the notion of a new team with a lot of new parts. And then some old parts that are kind of getting used to new roles or new dynamics and a new manager. And suddenly you have this moment where, I believe they had a pretty positive view of Craig Albernaz already, and last night, maybe he really became, their guy for some guys. And that can have an intangible effect over the course of time. And, again, it's, From the baseball standpoint, it is 1 of 162, 1 of 80, however many wins they will get, games they will win this year. But it is emblematic of some things. I think the craziness of Jeremiah Jackson hitting the foul ball that unfortunately struck Albie. Obviously any human being would feel terrible about that. For him to be the guy to hit a grand slam and then the cherry on top. Home run after that. I look at 2 things from last night. One, coming from the same standpoint, which is finding some positives out of the dregs of 2025, and one of them being Jeremiah Jackson.
Yep.
You kind of, if you checked out on this team last year, you might not have realized, how much he contributed. Even if you were locked in, you can never trust what you see in September necessarily, right? And here he is coming into spring. Is he a core guy who assuredly will have a roster spot? And then obviously the injuries to Westberg and Jackson Holiday, he kind of, suddenly becomes a key part, and he's producing as such. And then Rico Garcia, it's a lot, even even just a week or two ago, so many questions about the bullpen, especially with Kittredge once again on the shelf, and Helsley kind of trying to get his sea legs back after a rough second half last year. For Rico Garcia to come back and kind of establish himself in, at least for now, this 8th inning spot is just remarkable. So it's obviously Pete Alonso, with the big blow, the big free agent, but you look at the other components, and that's a matter of finding a little bit of gold in uncertain places, and that always has a big factor in a team's success over the course of a season.
So let's talk about Jeremiah Jackson, because obviously he has been, I don't want to say a revelation because I don't want to oversell it, but boy, has he been so much more than we could have possibly imagined when the Orioles acquired him. At the moment, it's easy to say, well, you got to keep him in the lineup. And apparently it's not a problem right now, because we learned yesterday that Jackson Holliday is not coming back this week. So I have no idea what's going on there and what they're going to end up doing, because they'll get to the end of a 20-day rehab assignment. They'll have to figure something out. But it does feel like when Jackson Holliday comes back, if Jeremiah Jackson's still hitting like this, you've got to figure out a way to keep him in the lineup. And I think the question becomes at that point, does Kobe Mayo kind of become the sacrificial lamb who you said, hey, we wanted to see him at third base, we wanted him in the lineup every day, but he's just not hitting. And for a team that's trying to win, we've got to value the guy that's being more productive at the moment over the guy that we want to see become a good power hitter one day.
Right. Yeah. Well, here's the beauty of it. He doesn't have to be in the lineup every day, which might make him, even better. You spot a guy in certain places and find the best matchups for him. It's kind of remarkable what depth can do for a team, and you're enjoying this Jeremiah Jackson ride right now. He's going to cool off a little bit just because, everybody does. He probably won't maintain an 871 OPS over the course of the year. Not that I'm putting anything past him. The man does have the lineage. He was a second-round pick in 2018 out of high school. He's only 26 years old, so it's it's there. It's in him. But now suddenly you can kind of afford to view him as kind of a super utility kind of guy. Where he gets some run at second, he gets some run at third. It doesn't, you don't have to rush Jackson Holliday back. You can really objectively make a decision on Jordan Westburg, although that decision ultimately will be up to the player, whether to continue with PRP or go with surgery or whatnot. But no, I wouldn't even call it a problem. It's a great situation to be in, and you kind of just enjoy that depth. And if you want to keep trying to give Mayo a shot, give him a really good faith shot at third base, at getting some at bats, especially with Mountcastle out. You can occasionally slide him into DH. They're playing well right now, and it's not necessarily hurting the team. A guy Mayo with a 35 adjusted OPS right now, it's not exactly what you want. No home runs. At the same time, they're getting by with him in the lineup. So you take all those components and you kind of try to leverage the best spots for them. It's a really good spot for the team to be in, and eventually Holiday will come back. And those handmates are tricky. I know there's concern, but Corbin Carroll isn't exactly setting the world on fire. Francisco Lindor isn't exactly setting the world on fire. They made it back for opening day, which is what people get so geeked about when you get hurt early in spring. Holiday taking a little longer on ramp, and maybe that's for the better. So I think it just puts them in a really good position going forward to continue to kind of workshop things and find the best spots for guys and see what the best combinations are.
It feels as though any concern or hand-wringing about Pete Alonso's slow start after a couple of days this week, it feels like we can just maybe put all that conversation to bed, correct?
Oh, yeah. And, as the kids might say, real ones know, if you will. If you were that worried about Pete Alonso, which isn't to say he's going to he's going to hit 50 home runs this year or whatnot. Adjusting to a new league is tough. Adjusting to a new ballpark, all that kind of stuff. So, his numbers might be a little off this year just because of that. But the track record is too good. The hard hit ball rate was too good. Man, I think he hit into a 108-mile-an-hour double play the other day, which is crazy. So it's going to come. The production's going to be there. He is who he is, and he's going to win them some games in the fashion that he did last night. So there will be other times where he will be trying to figure it out, but the guy does figure it out. He has a track record of that, and I think I think it's certainly time for Orioles fans to just kind of enjoy what he brings to the table, and the production. You look up June, July, August, and the production's certainly going to be there.
He is Gabe Lacques. He covers Major League Baseball and the Orioles uniquely because he's geographically close for USA Today. He's with us here on GCR. Gabe, the concerning end of it, Dean Kramer comes back, and he looked like April Dean Kramer last night. They've got one starting pitcher at the moment that's pitching well, and he's pitching very well, obviously, and Trevor Rogers is certainly backing up what he did a season ago. Acknowledging what a small sample size it is of the rest of that group, and I know you wrote about Zach Eflin, and he's obviously not going to be able to help the rest of the year. What's actually concerning? I think that I'm in this place where I'm dismissive largely of Kyle Bradish's struggles to start the season. To me, he's just too good for this to be his story, so I'm not panicking about it. There is a small part of me, Gabe, that I don't know if Chris Bassett is still definitively good enough at this point in his career that I can be dismissive of his troublesome start to the season.
Yeah, I feel like you're on the right track there. Certainly a big sigh of relief for Orioles fans, I would think, Saturday night. He turned in a decent start against the Giants. I think he got through 5 or 4 2/3.
4 2/3, yeah.
So it's here's a guy that might be working into his stuff a little bit more. Taken as a whole, the rotation is not certainly where you want it to be. I'm kind of with you there on Bradish. The stuff has looked good. He's getting punch outs. Perhaps some of the walk issues will resolve themselves, or at least get shored up a little bit. But again, kind of like the Jeremiah Jackson convo we just had a minute ago. You accumulated enough depth to put guys in certain positions where you don't have to fully rely on them, and that's, Cade Povich is kind of a decent example. If he's your, number 3, 4, 5 starter, eventually you might, he might start taking on a little bit of water or whatnot. Suddenly they have the luxury of getting a beautiful start from him. He gets into the 7th inning against a Giants team that swung the bats pretty good the rest of the weekend, and then you have the option of putting them down in Norfolk for a minute or two. That's a big difference. That's as opposed to when you're relying on those guys necessarily. Boz is going to be fine, I think. I mean, he has been fine. He's literally been the definition of a quality start at this point with a 4.5 ERA. And obviously not every start's been great, but he's fine. Rogers obviously pitching very well. So I think as a whole, it's going to come together okay, especially when you're looking at a pool of 7 guys, if you will, when you count Brandon Young, when you count Povich in there. I think in the aggregate they're going to be okay, but you are correct. Within that, there need to be some issues smoothed out with regard to command, with regard to walk rate, and with a guy like Bassett, you never know when it might be the year he doesn't shoulder that load. But I think it's a little too early for that. I know Orioles fans might be worried that this would be a Charlie Morton 2.0 situation, but I don't think that's it. It's maybe mid-May. That might be a time to start having that conversation. But the key will be when you see progression from him and getting a little bit deeper every time. Those are kind of the key metrics for a guy of his age and with his track record.
Again, we bring up obviously Cade Povich. I wonder if maybe when you deliver a start like that, and it might be the plan. It might be the Orioles said, yes, we optioned him because we had to in order to get Dean Kramer back up, but like we're going to tell Nick Raquet later this week, hey, man, it's a bummer about your ankle, and, Cade Povich is going to start next weekend. I don't know, because it seems like they want to keep, Rogers and Bradish on 6 days rest. It seems like they don't want to have those guys pitching every fifth day right now, but maybe this is the week where they say, hey, we have to do it this week with no off days. I don't know. I just wonder if, like, Cade Povich delivers a start like that, maybe it is time to say, let's see if we can't solve for Cade Povich. Like, let's take an extended look right now and see. We've been waiting on this guy and hoping, and now all of a sudden he's 26 years old. We know that we're not getting Zach Eflin back. Is it maybe something that they should do to give him an extended look and prioritize, hey, instead of manipulating the roster, let's see what Cade Povich could offer us maybe for the next couple of weeks and see if he deserves a permanent spot in this rotation.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. And, I think, not to be too macabre about it, but, these things tend to work themselves out. Not that I am going to, look at a police lineup and pick the Oriole starter out of a lineup that's going to, perhaps suffer an injury or whatnot. But, over the course of time, it will kind of work itself out. I think I think they have the luxury still of mixing and matching. Even with the loss of Eflin, they still have that depth. So, Povich obviously optionable. So you look at that situation as kind of a luxury. It is interesting. Dean Kramer. The 9 lives of Dean Kramer, even April Dean Kramer. He gives up 3 absolute rockets last night. Still gives them 5 innings and 2 earned runs, which it kind of maybe belies a lot of the hard contact he gave up and what Ketel Marte, was able to do with the baseball. But nonetheless, it's that kind of innings eating kind of situation that a team really needs. And you look up and next time it'll be 6 innings, and then maybe later in the year it'll be getting into the 7th or whatnot. So I think the group as a whole really, has some healthy metrics within a lot of the stuff that hasn't looked good so far. So, it's, is Cade Povich a bit of a luxury to send them in Norfolk right now? Yeah, probably. But I kind of see what they're doing with that. And I think in the long haul, it will probably pay off. And maybe, he comes up and he does that again. And then maybe it's, Cade Povich saying, okay, I dare you to take me out of the rotation. The Orioles would absolutely, love that quandary if it somehow comes to light.
Yeah, it would obviously be very, very good news for them if it were to play out that way. All right. What else is on your radar this week, Gabe Lacques? What else are you keeping your eye on and maybe around baseball as well?
Yeah, just an awful lot of parity. It's crazy. Entering yesterday, I think 26 teams were within 3.5 games of each other. There's really only one outlier team, and that's the Dodgers, as we might have anticipated. And then on the back end, the White Sox and maybe, the Astros and Rockies are, on the kind of losing into that. But it is
to your point. It is crazy that there's not a team that has fewer than 6 wins. Like that, it really is nuts. As much as we can say it's a small sample size, even in a small sample size, there's usually a team that gets off to a woeful start, right? Like one. It is wild. And I don't know how much of it stays. To me, I do kind of think this is going to be the story of the AL East. Not that everybody's going to be within 3 games of each other all season long, but I think we knew that I don't think this is stunning. And to me, I don't think there's anybody in there. I know the Red Sox looked awful last night, right? I just don't think that anybody in there is going to truly bottom out in the AL East all season long.
Right, especially with the way Tampa has looked so far. They've got a lot of, you always look at the indicators of will this be a Rays-like year, and it's starting to look like that a little bit. Toronto suddenly a little bit of a bigger concern. A week or so ago, I was thinking, okay, the Orioles are probably going to slide into that 82 to 89 win thing, but maybe be a notch below the Yankees and Blue Jays. I'm not so sure about the Jays now, how much more water they can take on. But one thing I do find interesting, just looking at it globally, is there's a lot of teams trying to compete, and it's even if it's just the bare minimum, and I look at the Pirates and didn't exactly win the winter, if you will, by signing Ryan O'Hearn to a 2-year, $30 million deal. But
we knew
he has absolutely been a huge difference maker
Yeah.
there. And they have an offense now. They have a lineup. Brandon Lau is pounding the ball. That was a really nice trade for them. So you pair that with their pitching. And, leading the NL Central and trailing only the Dodgers among National League teams. It's pretty remarkable. So it's hard to pick out teams that are blatantly, tanking, if you will. And gosh, the Nationals nearly being 500, that's certainly a big surprise. Cardinals trying to rebuild, and then suddenly Jordan Walker is leading the majors in home runs. They're suddenly at 500 and respectable. So it's refreshing after the 2010s, which we might call the decade of tanking, the decade of just kind of dereliction of duty among front offices. It's maybe been a little bit of a buildup, and does make for a very interesting narrative as we go into this alleged 100% lockout situation where, teams are trying a little more, and lo and behold, they look a lot healthier than they did when they were trying for sure.
That is a fact. That is a fact. Gabe Lacques, of course, USA Today, usatoday.com is where you see his stuff. He is he's not like he's not a heavy tweeter. You can follow him at Gabe Lacques, but it's like sporadic. You every now and then might see something from Gabe over on the Twitter machine.
I'm in my lurker era.
I appreciate it. Get away from that cesspool, man. There is nothing good happening over there.
Right.
Gabe, always appreciate it, man. Thanks for taking the time for us. Let's talk again real soon, all right?
Okay, you got it. No problem.
Gabe Lacques from USA Today with us here on GCR. All right. After the show yesterday, as expected, and we talked about it, could it have been Rocque? I mean, it could have been, but it was Povich. I think the only question is, what does that tell you about this weekend? Does that tell you that the Orioles either intend to have normal rest, right? Like that's the plan for this weekend is, hey, at some point this season, these guys are going to have to pitch on normal rest, and this is the time where we don't have an off day, so this is objectively the right time to do it. We have enough off days the rest of the year that we think we can keep the innings down, so we want to go normal rest right now. And somebody would say, well, why did Dean Kramer earn that opportunity more than Cade Povich did to pitch on normal rest? It's all, these are all reasonable questions. It's also, of course, still possible that, again, they'll walk into Nick Rocque this Friday and say, man, it's tough what's going on with your elbow, huh? They probably wouldn't use elbow because we'd all be way too concerned about elbow. Well, it's Rocque. Who cares?
Maybe it'll help.
Real bummer about your knee. Like it's possible, or your quad, something like that. It's possible that occurs and that they do let Cade Povich pitch again this weekend. But my gut tells me no. My gut tells me that right now they're not going to do that. And it's a fair conversation to be had of, should the Orioles just have tried to capitalize on the hot hand and let it run? It's hard to overreact at the moment because, again, we don't know. Until they announce starters this weekend, we don't know what the plan is. We're just basing it off of, well, if they sent Povich down, that might tell us something. We know that the Orioles like to manipulate a roster. There's also not anybody else at AAA. Like, because we did the math and it can't be Young without an IL either, there's no one else at Norfolk that you would particularly think they would want to have come up and make a start this weekend. So,
right, unless they're like, all right, let's give Trey Gibson a shot, right? Like that's.
I mean, that would be a wild
exactly.
choice. Like, I guess they could, but I mean, they could. I mean, that is fair, right? I haven't even paid attention to what Trey Gibson's done at the start of the season.
I don't know. I don't think he's been bad.
He has made 3 starts. He's only gone 12 innings in his 3 starts, and he's allowed.
Well, it's because they're saving him for the big leagues.
7 earned runs and 19 hits
Yeah, again, he's
a
just trying to
2.08 whip.
He wants teams to, kind of they're going to see his numbers and be like, oh, we're going to smash this guy, and then boom, he's going to flip a switch.
Don't think, Levi Wells has pitched quite well in AAA.
All right, maybe it'll be Levi Wells Day.
Maybe. I don't know, man. I'm going to choose not to get worked up about it, but there is that part of me that maybe does say, hey, right now, if they're trying to tell you, look, we know who our 5 guys are, and until one of those 5 guys can't, those are the 5 guys. We've just needed 6 for unique reasons. We're not going to need 6. It might very well be that mapping out how the season goes, they said, hey, when we get to that stretch, and what is it? It's
to like this.
How many consecutive?
12, it's like 12 days straight or something.
I think it was 12 or 13. 13 sounds right. That 13 straight days, we're gonna go in there with normal rest, and these guys have to pitch on normal rest at some point this season. And so we're going to do it then. But then I think there's 2 off days in a week.
Yeah, then they have
on the end of that.
Yeah.
And so they clearly
Thursday off, they have 3 games against Boston.
They clearly don't need a 6 starter at that point. So it might be nothing more than we like Cade, but we've got our 5 guys. They're going to be our 5 guys. And if due to injury or we get enough of a sample size on any of them that we don't want them to start again, then we'll go back to Cade. But until then, we've got 5 starters, and that's who our 5 starters are going to be. They're not telling us that because they don't announce those things, and they would tell you because it's always subject to change, right? Like if Dean Kramer came out of that last night and didn't feel so hot, then they might need Cade Povich, and this provides them the opportunity to say, well, we always wanted it to be Cade Povich. We love Cade Povich. They're just not going to tell us what the plan is. The tea leaves to me are starting to read more like they're going to stick to their 5 men, and they're going to use this as the first opportunity to let these guys pitch on normal rest, knowing they don't have to do that again for a little bit. But, that could change. It could very well be that come Saturday they've got Cade Povich right back up here, and, again, real shame about Nick Raquet's, finger or whatever it is that they say.
So it's going to be his head. Oh, they just cut his head right out.
Yikes. All right, a couple of things. One, big story from Sports Business Journal last night. Austin Karp reports that the Preakness is shopping, and the Maryland Jockey Club shopping the future media rights of the Preakness, with the plan for that to include the race moving back a week. Big news. We have reached out to the Maryland Jockey Club. You want to read it? What the Maryland Jockey Club said, so that we look like we did our job here.
If I'm like, I deleted it. As for the Sport Business Journal piece, the Maryland Jockey Club has no comment on the story about the Preakness date. We remain in the negotiation phase of the media rights process. As previously stated, we entered our media rights search with an open mind and continue to speak with potential partners. We have not spoken to the NYRA or Churchill Downs about the date.
Now, to be clear, the Sports Business Journal isn't just making this up. This sounds like someone that the Maryland Jockey Club is negotiating with has told them that they're on board. And until what the Jockey Club is, until it's official, it's not official, and we're not telling you that. We're not telling anything. But this smells very much like Sports Business Journal is talking to NBC, or in that story from Austin Karp, it says that Fox is also interested, who, of course, now has the Belmont. Netflix is interested, and I think there was one other streamer that was interested. It might have been Apple.
Yeah, Prime was on there, too.
Prime, that was who it was. Prime. That the streamers are interested, and that they've been talking to them, and the streamers or the media companies are saying, yep, the Jockey Clubs, we told them we're not spending this type of money at the risk of the Kentucky Derby winner not being there. It's not going to happen. And so the Jockey Club knows that they have to sell the rights for the race to be moved a week back. Now, there's a few things, of course, that come along with that concept of moving it to the 4th Saturday in May. The first thing that comes along with that is, of course, that would be Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah. Wait, no.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to figure out what. Is it a yeah? This is the tricky part about this conversation. For a lot of people, Memorial Day weekend is something that they already have plans. They have their traditions for Memorial Day weekend. They have things that they want to do. Whether that's going to the beach, whether that's going camping, whether for a lot of sports fans in this area, it's going to like the lacrosse Final Four, which at this point, I guess we assume Baltimore's just not going to be in the mix for moving forward. So it doesn't create the too much going on in the city in one weekend that you're competing against each other. It just appears as though Baltimore, for whatever reason, because of the Orioles and not wanting to be off that weekend, that Memorial Day weekend's too good to them, whether it's the sport of lacrosse, right-sizing the Final Four out of NFL stadiums and back into college stadiums. This year it's in Charlottesville at the University of Virginia, and we'll see what the plan is moving forward for the Final Four. It doesn't seem like it's going to be, I know a lot of people in the sport would like it to be permanently based downtown in Baltimore and think it's the best home for it, but it just seems as though that's not going to be the case. But there are still plenty of sports fans around here that like going to the Final Four. It's an interesting shift to Memorial Day weekend. I know that there are a lot of people, and I want to say, God, I can't remember, was it Randy Moss? I can't remember who we were talking to about this last year that was really pushing me about the once a month. And
he was
saying the correct calendar is
like July 4th for Belmont, right?
Correct. The correct calendar is first weekend of May for the Derby, first weekend of June for the Preakness, and July 4th and or the first weekend of July for the Belmont. Was it Randy?
I'm trying to see.
I feel like that was a Randy thing. And that to me, from a pure date consideration, I think makes more sense than Memorial Day weekend. Now, obviously, you're talking about now moving it 2 weeks back, and what comes with that are a couple of things. One, it's a lot hotter. There have been years where it's been plenty hot on Preakness Day in the middle of May. Now you're talking about moving it to either what would be the final weekend of May / the first weekend of June. Like this year, I think it would be the final weekend of May because it's an early Memorial Day this year. I guess Memorial Day could be as early as the 21st, so it can be as early as 21st and as late as the 28th. 22nd or as late as the 28th. This year it's the 25th, so I guess it's not early. It's sort of in the middle. And so that Saturday, the Saturday following Memorial Day would be May 30th. But you're pushing it 2 weeks back. It would be very hot at that point. And this also speaks to, and by the way, I guess this is a good time to remind everybody, the next print issue of Press Box that hit stands this week will have a big story about the future of Preakness from Bill Ordine. That's our cover story this month. And what does the Preakness look like? What we could maybe gather from the last few years is perhaps there is not as much of a concern about having 100,000 people at the Preakness as much as it is having the people that have more money to spend at the Preakness. And I think that's going to be a question for the new Pimlico era of the Preakness. Is there a priority for massive infield crowd, or does the priority continue to be the people that are willing to spend lots of money? We want them here. We don't care about the people that are trying to come for $75. Because the weather might be less of a factor if they are moving away from the 100,000 person crowd and the massive infield crowd. If their priority is the luxury suite crowd, and if that means there's 50,000 people here, we're good with it because they're the right people. And I hate saying that, but that's where a lot of sports are moving towards.
You don't look at me when you say
Yeah, I know. I understand. Trust me. I ain't looking at myself either, brother. And no, it ain't personal. I am definitely not in this group. You want to see? Look at my tennis shoes right now and tell
You're
me
not
if
wearing
I'm.
any.
Yeah, actually, at the moment, I'm not. You are right about that. I do like to take my shoes off when I do the show. It's more comfortable. I'm still wearing socks. It's not like a weird foot thing. Don't get me wrong. But that, I do think, becomes a factor in how much the weather matters in a conversation like this. Now, the weather also matters to the horses, but they run plenty of horse races in the summer, so I'm not too – I don't think they're too concerned about that. Now, I also think it's a factor for the folks in New York, right? Because now if you're trying to convince them to bump the race all the way back to July, it could be blazing hot. Blazing. I mean, unfathomably hot at that point. So those are some conversations that have to be had. I don't think Memorial Day weekend is a good weekend for the Preakness. They might say it's the best weekend for the Preakness because what it means is we could perhaps keep more people here that come in from out of town and spend tourism dollars. They obviously tried this with the Preakness Festival last year. It was a really good idea that maybe didn't, in functionality, work the way they wanted it to. But they clearly are targeting tourism dollars. So it might be that they say, and the state says, this is perfect to have it Memorial Day weekend. Let all the folks in Timonium go to the beach that weekend. By all means, go right ahead.
Get the Timonium people out of here.
And now let's bring in folks from, Florida to New York,
Kentucky, whatever,
to come into Baltimore and spend tourism dollars on Memorial Day weekend. I don't like it, right? Like, I want to prioritize us, and I think we have Memorial Day weekend plans, and we're not looking for a new Memorial Day weekend tradition, but their priority just might not be my priority. Look, man, there's a part of me that says this is the way it's always been. It's not going to be every year that horses choose not to run the Preakness. Some people still care about the idea of winning a Triple Crown and want it to matter the way that it mattered for American Pharoah. They want it to be, it's supposed to be hard to win the Triple Crown. That's what makes it so great, is it's not just who's the best horse of the year, it's are you one of the truly most special horses we've ever seen.
Which is why it feels like it is still too much of a stretch to do the 1 month thing.
Right. It seems like it makes it easier for, it just might be a who's the best horse of the year, and they could end up winning the Triple Crown, and there could be too many Triple Crown winners, and it waters down what was supposed to be.
Because Belmont's is it the third? Is it supposed to be the third? No, it's the second?
Belmont is 3 weeks after it's traditionally been 3 weeks after Preakness. What do you mean when you say it's the
Well,
third?
I guess I'm just trying to figure out, like, what's, like, so what, if they moved it to, like, what, Father's Day weekend now? It's not usually Father's Day weekend.
No, that's U.S. Open weekend.
Okay. So would they not?
Hang on, let me do the math. Well, I don't know if that means they would not do it. I mean, the U.S. Open some years is in New York, so that would create kind of an awkward scenario if that's the case. So what would the math be? 3 weeks from Memorial Day weekend would be – is that Father's Day weekend? Is that –
Yeah, it would. At least no. This year it would be June 14th.
And Father's Day, because uniquely that's the second Sunday. That's a calendar thing, right? So it might very well be – no, I guess it would always be Father's Day is always the second Sunday, or the third Sunday of June. So
Belmont is June.
Yeah, Belmont
6th this
would
year.
always be the second Saturday of June if it stayed on the 3 weekend. Is that right? I got to do this.
How is it June 6th this year?
For Belmont?
Yeah,
because that's 3 weeks after. That's 3 weeks after Preakness. Okay. Yes. What I'm getting messed up by is that some years it would be the first Saturday of June for the Preakness. Or if you moved it the week after Memorial Day, some weeks that's the last Saturday of some years that's the last Saturday of May, some years that's the first Saturday of June, and it kind of screws up the way that I'm thinking about all of this.
So would you have to come out and say you'd have to say it's always whenever Memorial Day is, that's the weekend that.
Well, if they move it back one week, it would always be Memorial Day weekend. They move it back 1 week, it would always be Memorial Day weekend.
So that would bump Belmont to the second week then of June. Even though it's sometimes. Yeah, I don't know why.
It would, it would always be the second weekend
Belmont,
of June.
but a lot of this has to do with what the New York racing.
Correct. They still have to make a decision
wanna,
about that, right? Like they might say, we like our date. That's the date that we want. And that means that if we have to accept that it's 2 weeks behind the Preakness, then we don't think there's a chance that a horse that has already won the first 2 legs of the Triple Crown is going to say, well, we're not running the Belmont. Like they might have a more of a power stance to take where they say, we don't feel like we have to move the date. Because if you just won the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness, then you're running the goddamn Belmont. Like, you're not bagging out now. You're turning around and you're running that thing and trying to win a Triple Crown. So we're not as worried about this as the rest of you are. And what do the media companies have to say about it? And what are the other, like, who's spending the most for it and what else do they have, right? Like, NBC, for example, like, the Belmont would be a problem if they bumped it to U.S. Open weekend because they've got the U.S. Open. That math doesn't math. They don't want that, but they don't have the Belmont. Fox has the Belmont. So I don't know what else Fox has going on right now. It seems like it's kind of a lonely part of their calendar.
World Series. Oh, yeah, baseball.
No, this part of the year, like they just have, all they have is Saturday baseball.
Oh, yeah, UFL.
Right. All they have is Saturday baseball. Like, this is actually an ideal. They could probably do whatever the Belmont wanted to do because there's nothing that's blocking
Masked Singer.
them.
Actually, never mind. It just ended.
Right. They've got Saturday baseball. That's what they have. So they can do whatever.
MasterChef is coming back.
They've got. When's that happening?
Thursday.
Oh man, my wife is going to be very excited about that news. That's big news for Mrs. Clark. I come out of this. My biggest takeaway is, it appears as though it's happening. That we finally, and I've thought that in the last couple of years that. For everybody that still was caught up about the dates, it does appear as though it's happening. I, Glenn Clark, don't think it should be Memorial Day weekend. I think that's a bad idea for it to be Memorial Day weekend. We have things that we do on Memorial Day weekend. I don't want it to be that weekend. If that's what the networks decide.
Is there still a chance that maybe it ends up working out really great, though, even if it is Memorial? Or you think it's only, at least for this region, like specifically, a lose?
No, I mean, could it work? Again, I think they could argue. They could then try to create a Sunday event of some sort that tries to keep people in town after the race. What that is, I don't know. Like, maybe what they do is they try to so part of the story from the Sports Business Journal is that, like, their Maryland Jockey Club is trying to push, we want network coverage for the Black Eyed Susan. We want Friday to become a network event the way that this year NBC is running the Kentucky Oaks in primetime. So part of that story is that becomes a priority for the Jockey Club, is we want the Black Eyed Susan to be on a network. We don't want it to be on Peacock. We want it to get more of a high-profile viewing spot. Now, if they end up on Prime Video, then I don't think you can. It's going to be on a streamer. That's the way it's going to go. But I say that to say, is it possible that they could look at Memorial Day weekend and say, what if we really did this crazy and moved the Friday race to Sunday? And again, tried to keep people here for a longer period of time, right? Like, I don't know. They might have a thought that, again, the people that I'm worried about aren't the people that they care about. The people that are going to Ocean City are the infield people, right? Like, let's be honest. The riffraff. The people that care about going to the beach Memorial Day weekend, for not all of them. Some of them are, maybe that's unfair to say. There are plenty of people that have places at the beach that are that live in Lutherville and Glendon too, right? Like,
can be careful here.
I think we can all be. I think we can all be very honest about who we are. I think we can all be very honest about this. So I took the boys we went and played putt-putt at Mitchell's in Reisterstown.
Nice.
Yeah, it's seen. It's a wild course. It has seen dramatically better days. Ooh boy.
That's just that charm. That's just course charm right there.
Yeah. The guy, in fact, I'll give him credit, said, "I'm not going to charge you the full $7."
It's only $7 now?
Yeah.
Well, I guess not even.
Charge me $5.
Dang,
I said $4 for the championship course. He said that'll be $20. I was like, oh, okay. Maybe you get like a 4 for $5 for the price of 3 or something special. He was like, yeah, the course isn't in such great shape. And I walked out, and he was not kidding. But we drove through Glendon, and we drove through we passed by Sagamore, and we passed by all those things on the way out there. And I was like, these are the people they want at Preakness. Like this corridor is who they're targeting. For between Hunt Valley and Glendon, that's who they want at Preakness. They want those folks. The rest of us, they might be okay with us saying, sorry, we're at the beach that weekend. They might very well say, enjoy.
But it does.
We're going to do what we want.
But it does seem like it's almost certainly going to be moved back, especially with these networks, because they know that.
I'm convinced it's moving back. And again, the networks might say, we are only concerned about the TV thing, and we think Memorial Day weekend is a good weekend, right? Like it's Indianapolis 500 weekend. Clearly, it's the start of
summer,
the French Open, right?
Right, everyone knew that, yeah.
Yeah. It's a big weekend for events. So they might say that's when we want it. We want another big event for the profile of that weekend. That seems counterintuitive, right? Like it seems like, again, people have plans on Saturday of Memorial Day weekend, and so you would want to avoid that, but
that's what they want. Well, I mean, people camp themselves in front of the television on Thanksgiving and Christmas now. They're trying to do it, I guess, for Memorial Day. Might work. Hopefully bring back boxing on the Memorial Day weekend, too. Be nice.
John says, they need to attract all classes of people. You don't create new fans by having exclusive elite events. BS, man. BS. I know what you're saying, John, and I want that to be the case. I think what they would attempt to tell you is there are other days where you can become a fan. And that with this new reimagined Pimlico, there's going to be other days where there's going to be racing and there's going to be other events. And I think that they want Preakness to be an exclusive event. That's my gut. And I think they've been kind of quiet. Now, I get it. It's a different group of people because the Stronachs, how involved they're going to be moving forward remains to be seen. Like, they're still technically leasing. Like, they gave the state the track, but they still kind of own it's a very complicated situation.
You're supposed to have it all figured out.
Yeah, I don't follow. I mean, once upon a time, this was my area. I think that's what they would tell you if you could put truth. What Drew always says, the meet the Effer's truth serum. I guess it's Fockers. I can say Fockers. Meet the Fockers truth serum in them. They would say, we know you're right. We know we need to create new fans, but we can do that on, again, Friday or a new Saturday or new Sunday event that we're going to create. We can do that those days. Preakness, we want that to be for a certain group of people. And I don't like that, and I don't want it to be that way, but that's kind of, to them, the idea of having 100,000 people is actually a problem. Like, it's too many people. It causes some of the issues that we saw at Preakness for many years. So for them, right-sizing it, creating an event that has the number of people that they want and the type of people that they want, and again, television, I think is the priority. I think that's the reality of it. All right, quickly throw up the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame lists. We obviously do the show with Spiro every year, but just to go over it real quick, because I'm not offended by anybody that got in, but it's deeply embarrassing. I mean, it's deeply embarrassing. So there's your list: Phil Collins, Billy Idol, Iron Maiden, Joy Division / New Order, whatever you want to call it, Oasis, Sade, Luther Vandross, Wu-Tang Clan. And some of those, I think, are, like, incredibly well-deserving. Like, if Wu-Tang Clan is a nominee, how in the world is Wu-Tang Clan not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Well, they got Phil Collins in, so that's all that really mattered, I guess.
That's all that really mattered. Look, I thought Phil Collins was a slam dunk as well. Like, I'm going to go back and make sure that of this group, hang on a second. To me, oh no, this was last year's. Jesus, where's this year's? Hang on a second.
2026.
Calm down. Calm down. All right, here it is. I'm looking at my strongs were Phil Collins was number 2. Go back, put the list back up there for me, just so I have it. Phil Collins was number 2. He got in. Wu-Tang Clan was number 3. Got in. Oasis was number 4. Got in. I had Black Crows on my list. They did not get in. I'm bummed about that. Luther Vandross was number 6 on my list. Got in. Billy Idol was number 7. So 5 of my 7 strongs got in. Now, to be honest with you, I had New Order, Joy Division as a no, and I don't have a lot of no's. But I had them as a no. Like, to me, it's kind of Bizarre Love Triangle and not a whole lot else. Like, I didn't think they needed to be in whatsoever. There's nothing wrong with this group. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a fine group. It's just so deeply embarrassing that this year's group of nominees had one nominee that was head and shoulders above everyone else. From career, from talent, from influence, from impact, from all of it. Mariah Carey
Phil Collins got in.
Is a million times more qualified than anyone that got on that list. This would be, with no disrespect to the folks that got in who are deserving, this would be as insane as like the Baseball Hall of Fame putting Jeff Kent in before they put Barry Bonds in.
The second baseman of all time, yeah.
It's insane. It's insane. And I think some of these people are more qualified than Jeff Kent. Jeff Kent, to me, is a mild Hall of Famer at best. But I have no beef with the fact that he's in the Hall of Fame. It's just deeply embarrassing that he's in while the guy that made his career, the only reason that Jeff Kent has even a mild argument for the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Jeff Kent might have had a better career if I was batting after him.
I'm so sure. Is because Barry Bonds exists. That's the only reason. And yet, one of them is going to be in the Hall of Fame, and the other one isn't. And it is none of the Hangover movies said something that funny. This is that, if not worse. Mariah Carey is a billion times more qualified than any of this group, with no disrespect to any of this group. That's just about Mariah Carey. It ain't about them. Mariah Carey is, like, if you did this where you had to present them like the Football Hall of Fame, it's the stand up, say the name, sit down, and move on to the next one. Because everybody knows. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's a political thing. I don't know if I have no clue how to explain it. But it is utterly insane that in back-to-back years, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has said, Mariah Carey, and they've been like, I don't know, she really has to do more. Really? Just has to go out there and do a little bit more for us.
Maybe somebody like hates Christmas, maybe, and that's
so effing insane, man. It's so ungodly insane that this is the situation they're in. But there you go. That's the group. God bless all of them. Bonkers. I mean, truly bad shit that Mariah Carey is not getting in. We'll come back in. We'll get a tidbit and two-bit to wrap it up. It is a Tuesday edition of Glenn Clark Radio.
This is Stan the Fan. You know we talk all the time about our O's stepping up in the big moments, delivering when it matters most. If you've been injured in a car accident anywhere around Baltimore, that's your big moment, and you need someone who delivers. That's why I'm here to tell you about Warnken Injury Lawyers. They fight for Baltimore families every single day. Insurance companies play games. Warnken plays to win. So call 443-RESULTS. That's 443-RESULTS, or go to warnkenlaw.com. When you need results, it's right there in the number, 443-RESULTS.
Your car is more than just a ride. It's an investment. At Leading Edge Auto Body in Mount Washington, we've spent over 20 years perfecting the art of repair. From high-end imports to your trusted daily driver, we handle all makes and models with elite precision. Our team holds the highest honors in the industry, including ASE Master, iCar Platinum, and specialized aluminum certifications. We make it easy with free towing, pickup, and delivery, because at Leading Edge, customer satisfaction comes first. And remember, with insurance, it's your car and it's your choice. Choose the experts. Leading Edge Auto Body. Quality you can see. Service you can trust. Go to leadingedautobody.com today.
The weather's getting cooler, so when you and your family are picking out a place to dine, be it lunch or dinner, let's make it nice and easy. Now, with 2 great locations, the Costas Inn remains your #1 destination. Whether you want to get steamed crabs and the full Costas menu out at the original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or sample the complete menu minus the steamed crabs at the new location above the grandstand at the Timonium Racetrack, Costas is your place to go. Check out the website costasin.com for a look at the menu, and if you want to plan that crab feast, call 410-477-1975. The Costas Inn.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
The latest edition of Pressbox is available now. On the cover, Dave Ginsburg chats with Hall of Famer Cal Ripken Jr. about his life now at the age of 65, his role with the Orioles ownership group, and much more. Also inside, Bill Ordine helps us learn more about new Ravens head coach Jesse Minter. Luke Jackson finds out about new Orioles slugger Pete Alonso from those who have played with him, and we meet college lacrosse players from programs all across the area. Pressbox is available for free at over 250 locations throughout the region, including your Baltimore area High's dairy stores. Plus, you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
All right, back in here and winding down for a Tuesday edition of GCR. Today's show, you heard the print issue promo. That's it. Today is the last day. If you haven't gotten it, go get it now. And again, that new print issue with Bill Ordine's cover story about the future of the Preakness and Pimlico will be available starting tomorrow for free at your Baltimore area High's dairy stores. Read it all at PressBoxOnline.com and anywhere else that you find Pressbox throughout the region. You want to offer your congratulations?
For what? Suns won or something?
Half the team out last night, and yet still victorious.
Wow,
Monday night trivia.
Just impervious, the Norfolk.
I felt a little bad. Our biggest competition, we only had there were 3 of us last night.
Jeez.
Our biggest competition kind of cheated. They had like 12 people on the team. They had like some folks in from out of town, and they were leading.
You're not allowed to have 12 people?
They were killing it. They had like a 7-point lead going into the final, but we were the only folks in the bar who got the final because thankfully it was a movie question, and our movie guy came to play last night. In the 90s, this movie produced the first ever scenario where 2 different actors or actresses were nominated for an Academy Award for playing the same character.
So
in the same movie.
Okay. So, wait.
Yes.
This movie was nominated.
2 different actors or actresses were nominated for Academy Awards for playing the same character in the same movie for this movie in the 1990s.
I don't think I'm going to get this. They were. I'm still confused because I feel like you would just know it, right?
You had to figure out first what that meant. You had to like decipher that.
Yeah, like is this
so
like Sinners?
It's not a bad way of thinking about it. Although technically they're not the same character. They're brothers, right?
Exactly. That's why I'm like, so not really.
You had to think about it and realize that what that meant was an older version of the character and a younger version of the character. Right? They were the same person. But one actor played the older version, and
both
one
actors got nominated.
And both actors were nominated. One for best actor, the other for best. Or one, I'll give you one for best actress, the other for best supporting actress.
Gotcha. Yeah. See, like I'm thinking like Moonlight or something, where they have that,
That's what you had to figure that out first. Yeah. And as soon as you figured that out, thankfully our movie guy immediately knew who it was.
I don't think I'm gonna get this. What movies have a time jump in the '90s? I don't know.
Well,
Toy Story.
Believe it or not, there weren't any acting awards for Toy Story.
There should have been. Yeah, I don't know.
Titanic.
Oh, really?
The old lady.
She was nominated?
Also nominated for Best Supporting Actress.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
It was actually quite controversial at the time. Like, how much was she really in the film? Like, did she really deserve to be nominated?
And she won?
I don't remember if she won or not.
Oh, it's just nominated. Okay.
They won a
Question was
lot.
just nominated.
They won a lot
All
of
right.
Academy Awards. So thankfully, as soon as we figured out what the clue was asking you, then my movie guy was like, "Oh, Titanic," and I was like, "Oh yeah, absolutely,
Well,
absolutely."
Congratulations.
So we were the only people that got that. The only sports question, because there was one in the visual round, but the only sports question was, what 3 coaches, men's coaches, have the most career Final Four appearances?
How many?
Which 3 coaches have the most career men's Final Four appearances?
Coach K.
Yes, I'll tell you. Yeah, yes.
John Wooden.
I mean, knowing that he won 10 national championships seems like a pretty good bet. Yes, John Wooden. I was torn between 2 people for the third.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I picked the right one.
So is this like, should I go Carolina here? Just go Dan Hurley. No. I feel like it was probably a long time ago. I'll go most Final Fours. Dean Smith.
That would be the correct one.
All right.
That would be the correct one.
Sorry I wasn't there. I could have helped you guys, I guess.
No, we got him.
Yeah, but we could have gotten
I was
quicker, I'm sure.
legitimately torn between he and Roy Williams. Like, that's where I was like,
Yeah.
between Kansas and North Carolina, could Roy Williams have gotten more? Is that possible? And I at first wrote down Roy Williams, and then literally before I walked it up, I said, I convinced myself that Dean Smith coached much longer than he did. So I actually used a bad path to get to the correct answer. I convinced myself that, like,
So
Dean
he just
Smith
did it every year.
coached well into his 70s when I think he actually retired at, like, 66 or something like that. So I had a bad path of getting to the correct answer, but I did get to the correct answer, and that's all that matters. Yes.
Kate Winslet and what? You know the name of the support of the old lady?
Gloria Stewart?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like the only 2 that didn't win their category.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't realize Kate Winslet didn't win.
She did not win.
Oh, how about that?
What year was this? 90 or 98? Shoot it. I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not gonna find it quick enough.
Dynamite stuff.
Yeah.
Dynamite stuff.
But yeah, she didn't win.
Hang on, I'm now checking to see. Roy Williams made nine Final Fours between 15 seasons at Kansas and 18 at North Carolina.
And that is not top 3.
Too short of Dean Smith with 11 Final Fours in his career. John Wooden with 12 and Mike Krzyzewski with 13. Those were the most. John points out there are other contributors that are going to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Yes, but that's not. They're separate from the conversation about Mariah Carey. That's the conversation that matters, which is a performer that's more significant than all of them not going into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. What you got for tidbit?
So I meant to share this one yesterday. Rory McIlroy, easy for me to say, has won 2 Masters.
Or as Caleb said last week on Reed and Glenn, new episode of Reed and Glenn now available. As Caleb said last week, Rory McIlroy.
Rory McIlroy has won 2 Masters, and both have come in. He has won 2 Masters since the last time the New York Jets have an interception.
I saw somebody say that. I did see somebody say that on Twitter.
So that is a stat that exists.
Which only means they didn't have an interception last year.
Orioles did have a 6-run comeback last year.
I thought the 2025 Orioles wouldn't win that game.
They did. They were down 6-0.
I was to understand based on everyone on Twitter tweeting the same thing.
On a Friday night, they were wearing the old City
and they
Connects,
won.
And they won. It was the 22-8 game against the Rays back on June 27th.
Oh, I do remember.
I was there. Remember, it was a great game. How many? Go ahead. Go name the lineup
from last year.
Last June.
Okay. Cedric, or is he hurt?
Oh, try to go in order here.
Oh, I can't go in order.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Well, because it was last year.
Jackson Holiday.
Jackson Holiday was leading off. He went 1 for 7.
How deeply embarrassing. Who's batting second? Gunner.
No. Gunner
Adley.
No.
I mean, was Westberg healthy at that
point?
point?
Was healthy. And then this was the game he got hurt because then I guess I don't want to give away that he wasn't in the lineup starting. But he got hurt in like the first or second inning, and then another guy came in and hit a couple home runs for him. Westberg hit a home run? No, he didn't. Oh, double. Westberg hit a double.
Gunner next.
Gunner was batting third, yes. 4 for 6 day for old Gunner.
Then
Classic.
The cleanup hitter was Adley?
No. Adley was not in the lineup.
Was O'Hearn.
O'Hearn, yes, was batting fourth. O'Hearn,
Where
this
was he?
bum
Was
went
he
0
at
for
first
4.
base?
Yeah, he
Oh,
was at first base, yeah. O'Hearn went 0 for 4.
Then Adley.
No. Adley was not in the
Oh,
lineup.
right. You just said that, and I totally blanked on that. So that means... Was Gary Sanchez? Was it Gary Sanchez?
Not batting fifth.
Oh. But was he in the lineup?
He was.
I can't believe Gary Sanchez played.
Gary Sanchez hit a home run, and he hit a home run, a nuke off of... no, sorry, he hit a double off of Jose Caballero. I thought he hit that one.
Batting fifth was... I got the whole infield, right? O'Hearn was at first base?
Yes.
So I need an outfielder.
You do.
Colton Cowser.
Not in this spot.
Cedric.
Not in this spot.
So then it was the right fielder.
It was. We got a boatload of prospects for him.
Oh, Laser Ramon.
Yeah.
Laser Ramon Laureano.
Do you call him Razor? I guess I don't know. Laser Laureano. Ramon Laureano was batting fifth. Yes.
Wow. Now Cedric.
No.
Now Gary Sanchez.
No.
Now Colton Cowser.
Colton Cowser was batting sixth. After Laureano.
Now Cedric.
No.
Son of a bitch. Now Gary Sanchez.
Yes. Gary Sanchez went 4 for 5. Big day for old Gare.
Now Cedric.
Thank
God.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
And then
I need a DH?
Yeah, you need a DH batting ninth. Hit his first career home run in this game.
His first career home run.
But it doesn't really count. It was off a position player.
Mayo.
Yes, Kobe
yeah,
Mayo. Kobe Mayo.
I wouldn't have the position player. I needed that in order to.
Yeah, Kobe Mayo batting ninth. There you go. That was the last time the Orioles. Those resilient, like we always said about those 9 guys, resilient. You know, they don't back down. Who was the starter that night? Who gave up 6 runs?
Charlie Morton.
And he made it 5 innings. Gave up 7. It was not Charlie Morton. Even though he gave up 6 runs in the second, ended up lasting 5, giving up 7 runs total.
Tomo?
Yes, Sugano.
Who's off to a great start.
Yes, yeah, he's somehow keeping the ball. He couldn't keep the ball in the yard in Baltimore.
That's
but
true.
Goes up to
somehow
the
he
Rocky
goes to
Mountains.
Colorado. It's really weird, right? Really weird. All right, it's 12:53. I hate you. By the way,
I know,
tomorrow
I have
the
to go
game's at
too.
12:30. We do not have we can't do this tomorrow. Let's get totally tubular.
Have you ever thought of taking a cruise to these wonderful destinations with sunny skies and beautiful beaches? Well, wait no longer. We're ready for you to cruise from the Cruise Maryland Terminal.
Have a little phrase that you can go from baggage to margarita in about 15 minutes.
Choose fun with an array of destinations, onboard activities, entertainment, and world-class cuisine.
Contact your travel agent and book your cruise today. Let your adventure begin.
Here's what's coming up this evening, totally tubular-wise. Trevor Rogers back on the mound for the Birds, facing Merrill Kelly as they continue the series. The Diamondbacks, 6:35 on Masson. Maryland baseball hosting Towson at 6 o'clock on Big Ten Network Plus. And the play-in tournament begins tonight on Amazon Prime. Heat Hornets at 7:30. That one's an elimination game. The other one, Blazers Suns, is a win and you're in game.
Gotcha.
I thought they used to do both. Like the idea was to have both kinds of games on the same night. I don't know what changed.
So now
there.
somebody has to play it back to it. I don't know. Whatever.
It's what it is. It's what it is. But yes, Heat Hornets 7:30. Blazers Suns at 10. TNT and True TV for a friendly between Japan and the U.S. women at 10 o'clock, and everything else sports-wise. Find it at GlennClarkRadio.com. I guess the final game of the season for the Capitals as they take on the Blue Jackets.
Yeah, they were
7
eliminated last night.
on ESPN and Monumental. So this could be the swan song for Alex Ovechkin. We will find out. I guess the Penguins were trying to do a bit with him on Sunday. We're like,
yeah, well, everyone's kind of treating it, I guess, like just in case.
yeah,
I don't know.
but he's like not wanting to do any
He's
of that
not wanting
stuff.
to commit, but
and
also it seems more likely.
Weird.
More than likely.
Weird.
Untold Jailblazers, the Netflix
All right.
the season 4 finale of Untold, and then be the 2000s Trailblazers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sky King is hashtag Sky King.
Yeah, I suggested that.
Is a big one on Hulu. Comes out today.
Not heard back from the crew.
It was
the Sky King.
Yeah, I can't believe this happened. This happened like 2018, I guess. Is that like I don't know why I remember it like more vividly than that. But it was the guy, the ground service worker at the airport who hijacked the plane, and then he was like, "Guys, I kind of did a dumb thing." And then ended up having to crash it. So it's kind of a sad story, but a crazy story.
Wow.
So Hulu documentary of that out.
Yeah,
and
sent that to the crew this morning. Have heard nothing.
They probably just don't know what I guess they probably. Well, you just need to jog their memory, I guess. Because once I was like, what the hell is this? And then I clicked it and I was like, oh,
so well.
Yeah. There's a Clint Dempsey docuseries on Paramount Plus.
Sure. All day. Everything else, GlennClarkRadio.com. Thanks today to Steve Johnson. Thanks to Gabe Lacques. We'll get that up in the greatest hits section of the...
Kimmel's going to have Zach Galifianakis and Lucy Halliday.
Tab at GlennClarkRadio.com. I don't know who's Lucy Halliday.
She's in the New Testament show on Hulu. The Handmaid's Tale spinoff.
Oh, okay. All right.
I don't know her from anything else.
Okay.
But apparently they're trying to put her over.
Very good. Tomorrow on the program...
Drew?
Oh, no. That's what we've got.
I'll be here. Will you be here?
We got a lot of work to do. Started off strong this week. Started off Darryl Strawberry, Ryan Spielborg's good start, coming off Rico Garcia and Muggsy Bogues last Friday, and we have...
Are you trying to tell people not to watch the show?
No,
I'm proud of what we got tomorrow.
I think we can do better.
Are you? Oh, yeah.
Are you?
It's going to be a big one.
Lord. Thanks, everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including the Baltimore Orioles, Costas Inn, Baltimore area highest dairy stores, Leading Edge Auto Body, Warnken Law, 1-800-GAMBLER, HelpMyGamblingProblem.org, Cruise Maryland, CountySports.zone, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio.
People say those are our best shows when...
No.
Sometimes me and you riffing.
No, we had a great show on Friday.
A great show today.
Because it was a little bit of both. Have a great Tuesday evening. Go Birds. Go Maryland or Towson baseball.
Mount St. Mary's baseball taking on George Mason at 3 o'clock today.
That's the one everybody's...
ESPN Plus.
I know that's the one. Duke sucks.